Alright, so today we will be doing a tier list on the weapons in Cultic. I've not seen anyone do this yet, so hopefully I'm still the first when this video goes up. So the criteria we're going to be using is the fully upgraded versions of every weapon. It's really not that hard to upgrade them, so we're just going to be going with that. We're going to be basing it off their performance in story mode. Survival is kind of its own thing, so we're going to be looking at not just the power, but the ammo availability, because a lot of these weapons are really powerful, but there's not a lot of ammo to go around. And we're going to evaluate their performance against bosses and regular enemies, and mini bosses as well. So we're going to start with the hatchet. This is the first weapon you get, and I'm going to put it straight into B tier. I think the hatchet is super underrated, because it's just everywhere, and it actually does a lot of damage if you hit an enemy in the head with it. You can one-shot any normal enemy. So the hatchet, pistol, submachine gun, and shotgun cultists with it if you get a headshot. And it's pretty easy to learn the arc, but there's an upgrade where you can just, it's only one weapon part, you can just get a arch. So it basically just aims for you. And next weapon is the pistol. This is the first gun you get, and unfortunately, I'm gonna put the pistol in C tier. It's not a bad weapon, but just fully upgraded, you're not really getting anything out of it, especially because another weapon kind of replaces it later. That's just kind of straight up better. um, it's just not good against anything but basic enemies, and even against them, it's still 4 headshots on extreme mode. Oh, I forgot to say that. Yeah, we're gonna be also factoring in all these weapons on extreme difficulty. So yeah, pistol C tier. It's good at the start, but not something you want to be using late game. Up next we got the shotgun, this double barrel, and I'll put the double barrel. This is hard. I think I gotta put it in S tier. Honestly, it just does so much damage against basically everything. Unupgraded, it sucks, but with the choke and the double op buckshot, it's really strong. You're one-shotting basically every non-boss enemy with a headshot. Even and against bosses, it just does so much damage. um, and against mini bosses too, this is probably the weapon you're going to be using to kill the chainsaw guys. The harvesters just does a lot of damage against them. And I'm going to throw the semi-auto right up next to it. I think these are pretty interchangeable. Except this, I think the semi-auto is a little bit better. I think they do the same amount of damage. Because if you're one-handing it, you don't have to reload it after 2 shots. But the same, everything I said applies to the semi-auto as well. I just like the way the semi-auto looks better as well. I mean, I like the Doom vibe, but come on, this one looks a little cooler. Up next, we got the lever action. This is going to be a tier weapon. This is probably the best weapon to use against regular enemies because it's just a one-shot kill. Not very good against bosses though. Actually, I'm gonna move down to B tier. I love the hatchet though. It's pretty bad against it's pretty bad against bosses. It just doesn't really do enough damage. And the alt fire is just so inaccurate that it's just not really worth using. Even with the Deadeye, it just doesn't give you enough slow motion. It's not a bad weapon. I put it in B tier because it's only good against normal enemies. That's what you're fighting most of the time, so you'll have this weapon out a lot. And revolver, same thing. I like the lever action a lot better because the revolver is just so awful with its accuracy before you upgrade it, but still they're the same thing basically when they're fully upgraded. Revolver's better at close range, lever action's better at long range because the revolver shoots faster. And we get up next we got the stun. Stun's A tier. This is probably going to be your primary weapon once you get it. Takes pistol rounds. Super good when it's fully upgraded. It's okay when it's not. But This is this is probably what you'll use most of the game. Honestly, it'll just straight up replace the pistol because they do basically the same damage, and this one's full auto, and this one's not, and this one holds 75 rounds. This one holds 15. There's just really no. This one's more accurate, but doesn't really matter. The game gives you so much pistol ammo, it just doesn't really factor in. Um, and I like how it looks. It's a very cool gun. And we got the two grenades up next, grenade type weapons, the dynamite bundle and the Molotov. Dynamite put in a B tier. Uh, it does a lot of damage, but not really enough to be good against bosses. It's really good against groups of normal enemies, and the game gives you a shit ton of dynamite, like a lot of it. So do not be afraid to use it. Um, you'll probably never run out, and yeah, you can spam it. So I'll just throw it in A tier. Not much to say about it though. Don't use the cluster toss. That thing sucks. But it'll one shot basically any normal enemy that is not a mini boss. And speaking of mini bosses, we got the Molotov, and this is a straight S tier weapon. The Molotovs in this game are absolutely nuts. They will just straight up one shot anything that touches it, even bosses. Your mini bosses, you can just one shot. Like the chainsaw guys or the big ape things, if you combine it with the TNT, you can one shot them with it if you hit them right. Even if you don't one shot them, you can just finish them off with a shotgun. And I don't know what else to say about it. Use if you're ever struggling with mini bosses like the riot cops in Chapter 2, or the chainsaw guys. I think they're called harvesters or something. Just throw a Molotov at them; they will die very fast. I don't know what else to say about that. We got the FG42 next. It's probably my favorite gun in the game, but unfortunately not S tier. Um, what I like about it is it looks very cool. I think it's very visually pleasing. The model in first person. It shreds bosses with the full auto. Do not use the full auto against non-bosses though. It's useless against that. But if you just barrel stuff a boss with the full auto, you'll very quickly kill them. The final boss fight, spoilers, this thing is absolutely nuts against that. Just have it in your back pocket. The problem with the FG42 though, why it's not F tier, is because you just don't get very much ammo for it, especially if you're doing the mag dump strat on the final boss. You can't really afford to use it against normal enemies, other than the sniper cultists. Use this against the snipers or the lever action, depending how far away they are. This is probably your only option for some of the gunfights in the game against those guys because they are very annoying. And we got bolt action. It's the same thing basically, except you get it. You only use this in one mission when you play as the cop guy in Chapter 2. Spoilers. But it's like I think it does the same amount of damage as the FG42 does. It's just bolt action, obviously, so the rate of fire is a lot slower. That's why it's a little worse, because you can't mag dump a boss with it. But it doesn't matter, because you only use it on one mission. But you get a lot of ammo for it, so you're probably not going to run out on that mission. We got the grenade launcher up next, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to put it in top of B tier. Just because you just don't get ammo for it, ever. I don't know what else to say. It's not worth using against normal enemies because there's just no ammo and you can just throw a dynamite bundle. It's very strong against bosses though, so that's why it's not in C tier. Also, no weapons are going to be D tier, obviously, because we got this thing last, I should say. But yeah, use it against bosses. It's not really worth using against normal enemies though, ever. And last we got the incinerator. easiest best weapon in the game. I mean, it will one shot everything. Every boss, even like the elite cultists, will you just die in one shot to it, which is kind of funny. Because they're supposed to be this super hard, not super hard, but like challenging enemy, and you can just fucking one shot them with it. Um, it has so much ammo. Uh, I think it holds 250 max, and you get a lot of ammo for it during the game. Um, its main drawback is it doesn't come in until late in both chapters, but it doesn't really matter because it's kind of nuts. Don't use a secondary fire though. That thing sucks. Just don't use that. But yeah, um, that was my cultic weapons tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed, even though this community is very small. Um, yeah, have a great rest of your day.